Two different countries, two different flags, but when their national anthem play, they're identical. Most people have no idea, and right now, that centuries-old bond is facing its ultimate test. It's a bond that has been tragically tested before, from the bloody Turkish invasion of 1974 that carved the island in two, to the brutal murders of Greek Cypriot teenagers along the Green Line in the 1990s. This isn't just a political disagreement. It's a story of shared blood, a history of survival, and a destiny hanging in the balance. Beneath these waters, just off the coast, lies an unimaginable prize: $60 billion in natural gas, a stockpile huge enough to transform the entire country of Cyprus, to turn a small island nation into a global energy player. But Turkey has its own plan, using hard power to block anything that legitimizes Greece's and Cyprus's EEZs, and to keep its blue homeland ambitions alive. From the UN podium, President Erdogan declared that no project in the Eastern Mediterranean will proceed without Turkey's consent, a direct challenge to UNCLOS-backed plans that strengthen Greece and Cyprus. The same anthem that once united Greeks in their fight for freedom now echoes across two nations caught in the Mediterranean's most dangerous standoff. This isn't just about money, it's about power, pride, and the very identity of a people. In the next minutes, we will follow the money trail through four battlegrounds: the $1 trillion energy prize, the legal warfare, the naval chess match, and the four future scenarios that will decide if this shared anthem becomes a song of unimaginable prosperity or a prelude to a real war. Look at the map and then look under it. Off Cyprus sits Aphrodite, a once-in-a-generation gas jackpot. Not theory, confirmed reserves. Billions on the seabed that can flip Cyprus's economy and reshape energy routes across the East Med. In simple terms, this is the kind of discovery that turns small states into energy players and puts their neighbors, including Greece, right in the spotlight. Here's the simple truth. The cheapest, most scalable way to get East Med gas into Europe is through the Greece-Cyprus corridor. The EU knows it, energy traders know it, and the EU's PCI list still flags the Cyprus-Crete mainland Greece route as strategic. Think of PCI as the EU's priority map for big cross-border energy projects. For viewers outside the region, one thing matters: the PCI label covers both gas and electricity along this same corridor. That's why you'll see headlines about the Great Sea Interconnector. It's a power cable, not a gas pipe. EU prosecutors are checking how that cable project is managed. That doesn't kill the corridor idea, it just adds stricter oversight. In short, Europe still wants Cyprus linked to the EU by gas and by power, but with clean paperwork and rock-solid execution. And the wheels are already turning. In 2025, Nicosia approved Chevron's revised plan, a subsea umbilical cord straight to Egypt's LNG hubs. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil and Qatar Energy announced a fresh hit in Block 10, Pegasus 1. Translation: more gas, more leverage, and a much louder East Med on Europe's energy radar. To make this vision a reality, Cyprus has already signed two major agreements in 2025 to send its gas to Egypt's massive LNG terminals. The plan is to liquefy the gas there and then ship it to Europe and beyond. The clock is ticking. The production timeline is set, with the first gas expected to flow by 2026. This energy prize has the power to change everything for Cyprus. Analysts project that energy revenues could potentially triple the country's GDP from $25 billion to over $75 billion in just a decade. We're talking about complete economic transformation fueled by this new golden age of energy. But there's a catch. Every pipeline drawn on a map seems to draw a warship next to it. So ask yourself, when contracts say go and gunmetal says no, who actually wins? Let's step into the courtroom and the UN chamber. By the way, only 10.9% of you watching have subscribed. If you appreciate deep dive geopolitical analysis, hit like and subscribe. It helps us make more videos like this. Now, the struggle over Cyprus isn't just happening at sea. It's being fought in the courtrooms and diplomatic halls of the world. For decades, the United Nations has been trying to untangle this Gordian knot. In March 2025, a glimmer of hope appeared when UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres restarted reunification talks. For a moment, it felt like the international community was finally taking a new, concerted effort to find a lasting solution. But as we've seen so many times before, it was a short-lived optimism. Despite a constructive atmosphere, no real breakthrough was reached. The fundamental disagreements remain, and the old wounds are still too fresh to heal. This is why the legal front is so critical. For Brussels, Cyprus's EEZ equals EU stakes. That's why Europe backs drilling rights, threatens measures when ships are harassed, and pushes de-escalation. For Greece, this is crucial. EU law, EU navies, EU energy security. Your borders are not just national, they're European. The EU has been very clear. Cyprus's drilling rights are sovereign, and any Turkish provocations will not be tolerated. But this isn't a new fight. The clash has a long, intense legal timeline. We can trace it back through decades of UN Security Council resolutions, like Resolution 550 and Resolution 789, which have repeatedly called for the withdrawal of foreign forces in respect for Cyprus's sovereignty. The whole conflict hinges on the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. According to this, Cyprus has the right to an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, that extends 200 nautical miles from its coast. Ankara isn't party to UNCLOS and argues special geography. Islands near its coast shouldn't box in a large mainland. It leans on blue homeland maps and military presence to force political solutions at sea. In short, where law is clear, power tries to blur it. And let's not forget the most dramatic legal detail of all. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is recognized by only one country in the world, Turkey. This puts Ankara in a difficult and isolated position on the world stage, forcing it to rely on military might rather than international law. In times of geopolitical uncertainty like this, I prefer investments that can turn volatility into growth. Case in point, one ETF I've been following is up 46% since January. I'll tell you which one and why in a moment. I do this through Freedom 24 because the fees are competitive, the platform is straightforward, and I can get support in my own language when I need them. And here's the simple reason I invest it all. Uninvested cash loses purchasing power to inflation. Every year it sits idle. It buys a little less. That's why I put my money to work deliberately and diversify with ETFs. Think of an ETF as a single basket that holds a whole collection of different stocks. It's a simple way to get the diversification that lowers your risk without having to analyze hundreds of companies yourself. Right now, one ETF that I'm especially watching is the Alpha ETF with ticker symbol AETF, which has delivered a 46% performance since the start of the year. I'm all about building steady exposure to solid companies while still riding the wave of strong performance. As always, investing involves risk. Forecast and past performance are not reliable indicators of future results. A quick note, the sign-up process might take about 15 minutes due to strict EU financial regulations, but it's worth it, because apart from being a great investment tool, Freedom 24 also provides an organized feed of official corporate news and market announcements all in one place. Check the description for details on Freedom 24 welcome offer, and if you join through our link, you'll help this channel grow. In the next chapter, I'm going to explain why one small incident could rewrite the whole map. Diplomats talk, fleets move. On paper, Turkey fields the bigger navy. But at sea, size isn't everything. Greece plays an island game, narrow straits, short distances, fast strikes, and subs that hunt in silence. Cyprus adds allies, not mass, turning this from a duel into a crowded chessboard. But the balance of power is rapidly shifting. In late 2024, a major development took place that changed the game. The Bayraktar TB3 drone, an advanced unmanned aerial vehicle, successfully took off from and landed on the deck of the TCG Anadolu, Turkey's new drone carrier. The ship became fully operational in 2023 and is a formidable new asset. This is a clear demonstration of Turkey's new Blue Homeland doctrine, which asserts expansive and, many would say, aggressive maritime claims across the eastern Mediterranean. This isn't just a map on a wall. It's a real-world military strategy. Now, there's a new variable over Cyprus, Barak MX. As Cyprus brings the Israeli air defense system online, Ankara warns it could destabilize the island and lead to dangerous consequences. On the ground, that means tighter rules of engagement, more radar locks, and a higher chance that a routine intercept becomes a political crisis. For Nicosia, it's a shield. For Turkey, a provocation. For Greece, one more tripwire minutes off its southern flank. Israel's role isn't abstract. It built the shield and deepened security links with Cyprus and Greece. As Israel routes more East Med gas toward Egypt's LNG in Europe, its security choices ripple straight into Greek Cypriot deterrence at sea and in the air. The military balance on the island itself is a critical piece of this naval chessboard. Turkey now maintains a significantly expanded force in northern Cyprus, reportedly approaching 40,000 troops. This military presence is complemented by a new drone base at Geopolitics Air Base, a strategic asset that allows Turkey to project its power and monitor activities in the eastern Mediterranean. There have also been recent reports in Turkish media indicating a willingness to potentially increase the number of troops on the island, with some sources even citing a target of 100,000 as part of a broader military buildup in the region. This would represent a major escalation in Turkey's military footprint on the island and would be seen as a direct response to the Republic of Cyprus's defense partnership and the increased presence of allied forces, including from the US, UK, and Israel. The Greek Cypriot National Guard, by contrast, is a much smaller force, relying heavily on its defense pact with Greece for support. To see how big the military gap really is, just look at the numbers. Turkey's military spending reached $40 billion in 2024, if you include internal security forces, far outpacing Greece's $7.7 billion and Cyprus's $598 million. This huge gap has fueled a series of tense naval standoffs from 2019 to 2024. Each side keeps pushing the limits, knowing that one wrong move could spark a much bigger conflict. So where does this go? 4 paths. Cooperate and cash in, freeze and waste time, stumble into escalation, or break through to a real settlement. Let's run the scenarios. Money first, risks second. We've seen the money, we've seen the legal arguments, and we've seen the military might. But where does this story go? We are standing on a knife's edge, and there are 4 possible paths, each with its own set of high-stakes consequences. First, there's the energy cooperation scenario. In this path, diplomatic progress through UN talks allow for a framework where both sides of the island and the guarantor powers find a way to jointly develop and profit from the offshore gas reserves. This could involve a power-sharing arrangement or a mechanism for revenue sharing, allowing billions in investment to flow into the region. Cyprus scales up. Greece cashes in via shipping, services, and strategic depth in the South Aegean. The pipelines are built, the deals with Egypt are finalized, and gas flows to Europe, making the country's GDP soar from $25 billion to $75 billion. This scenario would reshape the entire region forever. Next, we have the status quo scenario. This is where nothing fundamentally changes. The standoffs continue, the legal battles drag on, and billions of dollars in investment are left on the table. The gas stays in the ground, and Cyprus remains a divided island. This would be a story of lost potential, a crisis left to fester, threatening to erupt at any moment. Third, an escalation scenario looms. This is the path everyone fears. A slight miscalculation, something like a naval collision or a drone incursion, and everything spirals out of control. An armed conflict breaks out between Greece and Turkey, and of course Cyprus. This would not only devastate the economies of all countries, but also drag NATO and the EU into a regional war. Investment would disappear, credit ratings would plummet, and the entire Eastern Mediterranean would become a no-go zone for energy companies. And now, the most hopeful path, a breakthrough scenario. This is where cooler heads prevail, where a full settlement is reached through ongoing diplomatic efforts. The borders will be unified, the gas is developed jointly, profits are shared according to a mutual agreement, and this incredible wealth becomes a peace dividend that benefits everyone. The region would shift from a possible conflict to true cooperation, and the vision for the future would become a symbol of unity. But we must also consider a wild card note. Regional conflicts in places like Gaza, Lebanon, and across the Middle East could easily spill over into the Eastern Mediterranean. The instability from these wars could turn the energy routes around Cyprus into a new front line for proxy escalation. Cyprus's new role as a potential key alternative to Russian gas makes it a target for anyone looking to destabilize European energy security. It's a very real threat that hangs over all 4 of these scenarios. We've mapped out 4 possible futures, but the data shows that none of these paths are set in stone. The future isn't something that just happens. It's something that is being decided right now. So the real question is, which path will the region choose? How long before the world is forced to live with the consequences? Well, the smartest minds in the room aren't betting on one outcome. They're betting on real, ongoing diplomatic efforts. First, we have UN-mediated confidence-building measures. Think of these as opening new crossing points or demining areas. designed to build trust and make life better for people on both sides of the green line. Second, we have expanded talks including the guarantor states, Greece, Turkey, and the UK. These discussions are crucial for addressing the security concerns of all parties and finding a durable political solution. And third, we've got civil society and grassroots peace-building initiatives. These are efforts by Greek and Turkish Cypriots working together at the community level to overcome divisions and build a shared future from the ground up. So what do you think? Do you see energy cooperation or a Mediterranean conflict? Drop your predictions in the comments below and tell us which solution you think has the best shot. Special thanks to Freedom24 for making this analysis possible. If you're serious about building a great financial future, be sure to check them out in the description below. And if you like this video, I am sure that you would love the ones that appear on your screen right now.